One more. One more. Beautiful. Good. That's what we've got to bring him on to. Nobody can take them.
Had to wear the Kronk merch. Shout out Kronk. So first session is strength. We're basically going to be doing some explosive weights. High intensity, short amount of time. We're working on our sprint systems.
But if I can beat Jake Paul, then excuse my French, what the f is Anthony Joshua going to do to Jake Paul? I think my dad said that AJ could beat him with his prick, and I completely will back that up. Even if AJ had a broken arm in there, it still wouldn't go past a minute.
Anthony Joshua is training with steady focus as he prepares for his fight with Jake Paul. His routine includes strength work, movement drills, and controlled confidence as he sharpens his skills. Jake Paul is also training seriously, hoping to prove he can compete with a top-level fighter. Both men are working hard, building curiosity about how this unusual and highly talked-about matchup will turn out.
Just for me today.
One thing I knew, he was a hard worker. Second thing I knew, genetically, he's very gifted. But I knew after the evaluation we had some work to do. Now I've seen his body already evolve into something totally different. I've seen his conditioning evolve into something different. And more importantly, his understanding of his body and why he's doing things the way he's doing them. That's the most important evolution that I've seen.
Anthony Joshua is training with steady focus as he prepares for his fight with Jake Paul. His routine includes strength work, movement drills, and controlled confidence as he sharpens his skills. Jake Paul is also training seriously, hoping to prove he can compete with a top-level fighter. Both men are working hard, building curiosity about how this unusual and highly talked-about matchup will turn out.
Timing on it, that's all that matters.
Because early on, if you look for power, you waste energy, then that power evaporates. When they're tired, you ain't got the power to take them out, so you've got to open up in the gap for no reason. So just relax, flow.
Just pop off
Good
that
feet,
reach.
you were saying.
Just pop off that reach. And any time you move, that should be that, that should be that, yeah? And then the control's down the middle, all right?
Yeah, yeah. That's what
Control, smooth, relax, relax, relax. Last minute, mate, that'll do you then. Uppercut. Good. Right hand. Good, good, good. Left hook high. Good. Uppercut high. And again.
Eddie Hearn explains that the financial offer given to Anthony Joshua is simply too big to turn down, especially at this point in his career. Joshua has already achieved almost everything a heavyweight can, so taking a high-paying fight is a smart move, not a desperate one. Hearn says boxing has always been about money as well as legacy. If a fighter is offered a huge payday for a matchup he can manage without taking major risks, it becomes a practical decision. He adds that Joshua isn't doing anything wrong by accepting it, he's just being smart about the opportunities in front of him. According to Hearn, no fighter would reject easy money if it fits their training schedule, timing, and overall career plans. Jake Paul offering such a massive purse opened the door, and Joshua naturally chose to walk through it. After all, boxing is also a business, and big offers deserve serious consideration.
By the ring by Mike Coppinger, that one's in the works and looking likely for December. What can you tell me?
Yeah, not yet. I mean, there has been conversations, obviously. I think it comes down to how true, they are. Jake Paul is that he actually wants to fight. I mean, he's a madman if he wants to fight. But for some reason, and he thinks he can beat AJ. And I have to be honest, we were going to have a run out in December, over 8 rounds against a bloke you've never heard of. And we may end up having a run out against Jake Paul for a career high payday. I don't see how we can turn it down.
When I asked you about it a couple of days ago, you said that at that time you never really got into the financials. Have those been discussed now? Have you discussed the financial element?
There has been some conversations around that, and it is, it's a huge amount of money. And I think AJ would be mad if he didn't do it, and I think he will do it if Jake Paul is genuine. We may wake up tomorrow with these people and they've announced another fight. Honestly, anything could happen. So I still can't get my head around the fact that this guy wants to challenge AJ. Listen, respect to him if it's true, but we shall see.
Two to end on that note. I spoke to Alfie Sharman earlier. He said that himself or DAZN have had no conversations about AJ potentially taking that fight. Obviously, AJ is exclusive to DAZN. What's the situation with regards to that? Because I know they'd want it.
Apparently the fight's done. Obviously, it's not done because those conversations have to take place. I'm very confident that I can have some positive conversations with DAZN. Obviously, we'll be on a clock, but it's a 50-50.
Last one from me. I saw Chris McKenna tweeted that Anthony Joshua currently doesn't have a British Boxing Board of Control licence. Obviously, it's not unusual for someone who isn't fighting currently and he's inactive to let it run out. But he would have to apply for one to face Jake Paul again, and then they'd have to approve a fight. Do you think that'd be something?
Experts point out that Anthony Joshua has already fought some of the hardest-hitting heavyweights of this generation. Even after being out of the ring for 14 months, they say the experience gap between him and Jake Paul is still huge. They explain that Joshua spent years facing world champions, strong punchers, and elite athletes' opponents very different from the social media-driven fighters Jake Paul has faced. While a long break can affect anyone, analysts believe Joshua's fundamentals, power, reach, and ring IQ still give him a major advantage over someone who is still learning the sport. They add that Joshua's last loss doesn't change much, because the level of fighters he faced is far above what Jake Paul has dealt with. Overall, experts agree that Joshua's skills, even after time away, are more than enough for him to control the fight and dominate whenever he decides.
Correct me if I'm wrong, right? And just to clarify, I don't class Otto Wallin as a very competitive fight. Every competitive fight that AJ is in from now until the end of his career and has been in for the last few years, I believe has taken something out of him. Every time he's in a competitive fight, even when he's won, and I'm not saying taken out of him to the extent where he's no longer a good fighter, no longer can do anything, but every single one has taken one out of him. So let's say, for example, you go down the Tony Yoka route and you can sell it as the 2 Olympic gold medalists and whatever. It's a lose-lose, mate. You're expected to knock him out. If you don't, then you go the distance. I think that's going to take something out of you. I actually think that this could be better prep for a Tyson Fury fight. Not just
mentally as well, because he smokes him and it looks great, and then he's confident.
This is what I'm saying, right? Not just from a stylistic boxing standpoint, but from the mental standpoint of the fact that if you go in there and you smoke Jake Paul, straight away, all of a sudden, it's headline news, it's massive, and as well as that, you're coming in off the back of something that's impressive, right? We all felt like the Francis Ngannou performance was really impressive, but it wasn't followed up with an impressive performance. So it doesn't actually determine whether or not...
This is worse. This is worse than that. I don't know what you're thinking, Lawrence, but the Ngannou one, you could at least say heavyweight. You could say that his pedigree. So we didn't really...
On the distance
while
of
he
Fury.
was coming from a different kind of method of fighting, end of the day, he's still a champion. We're talking about Jake Paul, guys.
Do you know what's mad? Can I just add something in before Loza jumps in? There are Americans, and I've heard them in the last 24 hours, giving Jake Paul a better chance than Francis Ngannou, saying he has the boxing experience. Francis Ngannou didn't have enough boxing experience. Because that's how Americans view this whole thing.
Well, no, Francis Ngannou did have more boxing experience than Jake Paul.
Well, yeah. But that's what they're saying is Francis Ngannou had 1 fight, Jake Paul's had 10, 12.
10 rounds, and you little say I'm licking his ass. 10 rounds of Tyson Fury, will gain you more experience than everything Jake Paul has done so far in his career.
Adam Catterall strongly criticizes the decision to make this fight a sanctioned professional bout instead of an exhibition. He says that turning it into a real competitive fight puts Jake Paul in serious danger because Anthony Joshua's natural power is on a completely different level from anything Paul has ever faced. Catterall explains that exhibitions allow for safer conditions and controlled pacing, but an official fight removes those protections. He worries that Jake Paul may not fully understand how dangerous a heavyweight punch can be, especially from someone with Joshua's size, strength, and experience. He questions whether entertainment should be placed above fighter safety and believes this matchup pushes things into unsafe territory. Catterall warns that while fans may enjoy the hype, stepping into a sanctioned fight against a real former world champion is nothing like YouTube-level boxing or influencer bouts.
Yeah. Brutal knockout against Dubois.
Yeah.
Not the same AJ maybe of the past. He's 36. He's got a chance to earn £70 million, maybe to add to the 150 he's already got. Why wouldn't he do it? Because why would he want to maybe for 5 or 10 million fight a Fabio Wardley who's dangerous, Itoma who's dangerous? Surely from an AJ point of view, it makes sense.
Makes sense. From any fighter's point of view, it makes sense because you're in... Listen, belts don't pay your mortgage, do they? And I know he's got a lot of dough anyway, but 70 million... If someone's going to throw you 70 million quid to fight a lad that struggled and lost to Tommy Fury, you're going to take it, aren't you?
Yep.
So from AJ's point of view, yep, I completely get that. From Jake Paul's point of view, you're leveraging your audience in the world of boxing and making a ton of cash fighting the former 2-time unified heavyweight champion of the world. Mate, most boxing fans would bite your hand off at that opportunity, especially if you're throwing 70 million quid in the pot as well. I've no problem with the promoters. My problem is that it can't be a legitimate fight. Let's be dead honest about this, right?
Eddie Hearn said it will be.
Listen, there is no commission on the planet that can authorise that fight. It's a 2-time unified heavyweight world champion, still in his athletic prime. You just said he's 36. We're not talking Mike Tyson age of 50-odd here now, are we? Olympic gold medalist. He's had 13 world title fights as AJ. 13 of them. Against the very best guys.
And could take his head off.
Like he done to Ngannou.
It is dangerous.
Yeah.
It is absolutely dangerous. Like I've just said, Jake Paul struggled with Tommy Fury. The levels between these two guys are ridiculous. The commissions cannot sanction that as a legitimate fight. There has to be a rule change. It has to be an exhibition. And then you can have a little bit of a move.
Hold on, Gab. Let's go back to proper boxing. I'm with Cats here. You know, this is ridiculous.
Big story, though.
Oh, listen, it's because it's AJ, because it's Jake Paul. It's going to do numbers and capture people's eyes, right? But there's
Experts say many fans have been waiting for years to see Anthony Joshua fight Tyson Fury, a matchup that has been talked about for a long time. Fans are confused that instead of chasing that long-awaited heavyweight showdown, Joshua is now fighting Jake Paul. Analysts explain that boxing politics, contract issues, and timing have made the Fury fight extremely hard to finalize. Meanwhile, the Jake Paul fight was easy to set up and came with a big payday right away. They point out that fans may feel disappointed, but Joshua is choosing the option that makes the most sense for him right now. Even though the Fury fight is still the dream, the business side of boxing often pushes fighters in different directions. Chisora adds that Joshua's punching power is on another level. He believes that once Joshua lands a clean shot, the fight will end quickly. Chisora stresses that Jake Paul has never been hit by someone with Joshua's kind of power, making the likely outcome very clear. His comments highlight both concern and realism, reminding everyone that boxing is dangerous, especially when there is such a big difference in size and experience.
Joshua's next fight in the coming days, and now it looks very much like it's going to be Jake Paul, the controversial figure. Whatever you think about him, he makes a lot of money, huge views, sells fights, but he was supposed to fight Gervonta Davis. That is not happening, and now he's potentially facing one of the biggest names in heavyweight boxing. Whenever you mention the name Anthony Joshua, people are interested, and of course the fight people still want to see is Anthony Joshua against Tyson Fury, and that's the dream fight which Eddie Hearn, Frank Warren and Turki Al-Sheikh are trying to make next year. But Eddie Hearn has said we need Anthony Joshua back in that ring. He's not been in the ring since losing to Daniel Dubois in devastating fashion at Wembley Stadium last year. But if he'd have said that time ago that his next fight would be Jake Paul, not a single person on this planet would believe me. But it does look like now that Anthony Joshua, the former world champion, is about to face Jake Paul in a month's time.
Mate, it's a great thing, so we can just shut that Jake Paul nonsense away. AJ's gonna knock him out.
Jake, would it be similar, do you think, to the way AJ knocked out Francis Ngannou? Because Eddie Hearn's just said about the rage maybe AJ has.
It'll be worse. It'll be worse. It'll be worse.
1 round?
1 round. But if he goes past 3 rounds, we don't know what's going to happen.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. If AJ goes in there trying to mess around, trying to show his boxing skills, nah. He's going to go in there and light him out. That's what we want.
Yeah. I mean, is it something you'd love to see as well? I know, I mean, you've known AJ for a while.
We're all going to be tuning in to watch it. That is it. There's nothing else. December.
Tommy Fury reacted by comparing his own fight with Jake Paul to the much bigger challenge Anthony Joshua presents. He said that if he was able to beat Paul, then Joshua, who is far stronger, more skilled, and more accomplished, would have no difficulty at all. Fury explained that this matchup isn't about comparing skills, but about levels in the sport. In his view, Paul is stepping into a world he is not ready for, and Joshua's size and physical presence alone will cause problems from the very first moment. Tommy Fury also repeated his confidence in Joshua's ability to dominate. He said that fighting Paul gave him a clear understanding of Paul's strengths and weaknesses, and based on that experience, he is sure Joshua would control the fight easily. Fury added that Joshua's size, technique, and power are on a completely different level, leaving no realistic scenario where Jake Paul can compete for long without being overwhelmed.
Beat Jake Paul. Excuse my French, what the fuck is Anthony Joshua going to do to Jake Paul? I think my dad said that AJ could beat him with his prick, and I completely will back that up. Even if AJ had a broken arm in there, it still wouldn't go past a minute. To be quite honest with you, and as a safety aspect, there's no way that fight can go ahead. At the end of the day, my God, how good does it make me look? He gets beat by Jake Paul. Well, that automatically makes me two-time heavyweight champion of the world, doesn't it? There's no proper way. I've got to laugh about it. How are we even talking about this? He got his nut boxed off by me a little over 2 years ago. And now all of a sudden, he's talking about fighting Anthony Joshua. It's like, come on. Like, you can't be serious. You can't beat me. I'm not Anthony Joshua, am I? So...
Allen reinforces his earlier concerns, saying this is not a fight Jake Paul can take lightly. He explains that Joshua's timing and power can change the fight very quickly, and Paul may not be prepared for the intensity that a true elite heavyweight brings. Allen adds that once Joshua begins applying real pressure, the entire fight could shift fast, showing just how dangerous the mismatch could be and how serious the physical risks are for Paul.
Jake Paul lost to Tommy Fury. Anthony Joshua cannot box Jake Paul. Horrific. He's dangerous for one, and two, if Jake Paul even lands a glove on him, it just diminishes everything that he's achieved. Jake Paul won't last 2 minutes for me. Never mind Anthony Joshua. It's ridiculous. It's a joke.
If AJ does say yes to going in against Jake Paul, does he harm his legacy?
I would lose a bit of respect for him, and I think a lot of boxing people would as well, to be honest. Why would he box him? Two-time heavyweight champion of the world, one of the best heavyweights the last 20 years, held British boxing on his back. People might say he deserves to box Jake Paul. But why though? Why would he do it?
Did you lose respect for him when he fought Ngannou? Did you lose respect for Fury when he fought Ngannou?
Ngannou's a serious fighting man. World champion in the mixed martial arts.
It's a worrying thing, potentially, the damage that AJ could do to Jake Paul.
He'll hurt him. Yeah, Jake Paul is a cruiserweight. You wouldn't put the Midlands area cruiserweight champion in with Anthony Joshua, so why would you put Jake Paul in there? Just because he's a superstar, whatever. I don't know what he does. What does he do? What is he?
A YouTuber.
It's just not worth it. He's got enough money as it is. Why risk all that for a few more quid? I don't like it. I hope it don't happen. I don't think Anthony Joshua will do it.
David Haye talks about how unpredictable boxing can be and warns that even though Joshua is the favorite, anything can happen once the fight starts. He says Paul is in real danger, but reminds everyone that fighters should never underestimate any opponent, no matter their experience. Haye explains that Joshua must stay focused and not assume the fight will be easy because boxing is full of surprises. Haye adds that Joshua may be older now, but he is still strong, skilled, and far from the decline seen in many aging fighters. This means he still has everything needed to cause major problems for Jake Paul. According to Haye, if Joshua stays disciplined, his advantage will show quickly and the fight will clearly expose the difference between a proven heavyweight and a developing crossover boxer.
It was only a couple of months ago that we were told it was really close, and then it was Jake and Tank, and now that's off for other reasons. Your initial reaction to the fact that December Miami might be on?
Yeah, jumping from Gervonta Davis all the way up to Anthony Joshua seems absurd. It doesn't seem like it's a reality.
Seems very Jake Paul.
It seems, but you know, sometimes these crazy things. Who would have ever thought Francis Ngannou would get a shot against Tyson Fury? When we first started talking about it, it's like, that's never going to happen. And when it did, we saw Tyson Fury have a very, very tough night, get knocked down and scrape through on points. Anything's possible in boxing. I think the chances of Jake Paul beating Anthony Joshua, I don't know, he's got a very, very low chance. I can't see any way that Jake Paul can win a boxing match with 10, 12-ounce gloves on with Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua, you know, world champion, silver medalist, Olympic gold medalist, two-time heavyweight champion. He's a top 10, top 5 in some people's arguments, heavyweight, and he hasn't gone that far over the hill. He's not Mike Tyson, nearly 60 years old. I can't see it happening, but if it can happen and AJ wants it, then obviously it's going to be a massive, massive payday as well as a massive spectacle. It would be an absolute crush box office numbers, and unfortunately for Jake, that will be potentially his last fight in boxing if that first bell rings.
I know your friend Derek had a few things to say about it last night, and he said AJ's got 3 rounds, and that's not that if it goes past 3 AJ's going to lose, but if it goes past 3, his quote was, people are going to go, are you doing?
It depends how
he can't go past 3.
It depends how he goes past 3 rounds. He could go out there and play with him and soften him up and make him look silly, or he could go out there, try and knock him out in the first round, not do it, try in the third.